fucking last week said he's not a pedophile, which is an insane thing to say. He talked on a fucking podcast about how he met this sexy, and I'm using the terms that he used, okay? He met an attractive 14-year-old girl, he said, okay? Which is like, immediately, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, he was just driving around in his fucking Vespa, met an attractive 14-year-old girl, he said. This girl, they hit it off. This is his words. They hit it off. She brought him back to her house, and she was Venezuelan, and the house was full of sex trafficked minors, and he just left. He just left the house. He didn't do anything. He just kept that story with himself, and then decided to talk about it. But then everyone was like, bro, you just said the 14-year-old girl was hot, and you didn't do anything about like these supposed sex trafficked Venezuelan girls, right? So why didn't you do that? So then the campaign literally released a fucking video. Or not a video. The campaign literally released a fucking ad saying Bolsonaro is not a pedophile. Does anyone have that? Yeah, he goes, here's the story with the fucking subtitles. Bolsonaro's tale on a podcast that aired yesterday of how after feeling some chemistry with a 14-year-old girl, he followed her into a brothel full of Venezuelan children, has supporters insisting he's not a pedophile. Watch the subtitled video and see for yourself. If you want to understand how Brazilian politics operates, by the way, this is identical, again, to conservative movements here in America. After all, Donald Trump has said things about how beautiful very young girls are. But also Roy Moore comes to mind immediately, who very openly did pedophilia, and yet the entire National Republican Party backed him in Alabama.
Eu estava em Brasília, na comunidade São Sebastião, se não me engano.
Said I was riding my motorcycle in South Sebastio. They complain he's riding a motorcycle. I do. I also ride a jet ski, a horse, a donkey. I stopped in a corner and pulled off my helmet and saw 3 or 4 pretty little girls, 14 or 15 years old, all dressed up on a Saturday in a slum. And I saw they all looked alike. There was some chemistry. Bro, pretty little girls, they're 14 and 15 visibly. There's chemistry. Can I come into your house is what he asked. He's kicking game at 14-year-olds in the fucking made-up story in his mind, okay? Why? Out of all the fucking stories he could have made up, why the fuck did you decide to make up a story where you're a pedophile? Can I come into your house? There was some chemistry, so I said, can I come into your house? And I went in. There were 15 to 20 girls in there on a Saturday morning dressing up, all Venezuelans. And I asked, why are pretty little girls like you all getting dressed up on a Saturday?
Meninas bonitinhas, 14, 15 anos, se arrumando no sábado, pra quê? Ganhar vida.
And they said, to make a living. I don't understand. Like, the story that he was trying to make here, the story that he was trying to say is, like, obviously, Venezuelan communism has created a system in which, like, there are, little girls being sex trafficked, right? It's supposed to be a scary story about, like, Venezuela and communism and immigration and what's happening to human beings as a consequence of communism. Bolsonaro, of course, is, like, the opposite of that, right? So he's trying to describe this situation, this scenario. But because he's such a creepy fucking pervert, yes, he admitted all this unprompted. He made up a story where he still came across like a fucking creepy pervert. Even worse, after all this blew up, he sent his wife and the women's right minister to the place to intimidate those girls and recording a video denying he's a pedo. It's insane. The story is real, but the girls were dressing up for church. Oh, okay. This is beyond dumb politics. We have reached the next level of depravity and lies. That's not even the first time. There was another live stream where a little girl says that she started early, and he looks at her with a perverted look and says, "Started early, really?" And she says, "Yes, I started to sing early." And the girls weren't making a living. They were getting ready for mass. I mean, dude, every part of this story, literally, like, even if that was a real brothel, like the way that this creepy psychopath is claiming it was, he still is in the wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, he took a story that seems insane because, like, in the fucking hypothetical story you made up in your fucking mind, even if this wasn't a hypothetical story. I mean, this is probably not a hypothetical story. This is not a fake story. But, like, the story that he is telling, he's literally saying he's a pedophile. Why would you follow a 14-year-old girl into her home? Why did you say that a 14-year-old little girl was sexy or attractive, hot? It's fucking psychotic. Like, can I come into your house? Who does that? You said there was chemistry between him and a 14-year-old girl. They were innocent and simply existing, and he thinks that's the most viable option. No, it just, like, it doesn't make sense. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's just a man in his 60s who feels chemistry with the 14-year-old children but does not have relations with them. Why, as the president of Brazil, did he not report an international child sex trafficking operation to the authorities? Exactly. Like, he was the president at this point. Like, he's saying he was the president by this point. People are not just defending him, people are still voting for him. It's embarrassing that he has a big chance of winning today's election. Yeah. It's fucking insane.